Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to talk about the first module in Human Computer Interaction 302. So, I am your professor, Rodaflor Andrea B. Teodosio. Please bear with me while we are discussing the lesson, and don't forget to take notes of this. So the module overview for HCI is, of course, to describe HCI, which would also describe some of the areas where HCI can be implemented with a distinctive importance. Discussing the historical evolution of HCI, understanding the guidelines being used in HCI, and we are also going to discuss the elements and principles of design. The scope of HCI Module 1 is for us to introduce to the human-computer interaction, guidelines in human-computer interaction, elements and principle of design. So these are the three factors that we're going to discuss for today's module. The objective of our module is, or the objectives rather, are demonstrate familiarity on human-computer interaction objectives and its historical evolution, demonstrate knowledge on HCI standards and guidelines, and demonstrate knowledge on the elements and principles of design. So let us understand what is HCI all about. The human-computer interaction, or HCI for short, was previously known as the man-machine studies or tinatawag din siya before as man-machine interaction. It deals with the design, execution, and assessment of computer systems and related phenomenon that are for human use. So, as part of this first lesson objectives, after the end of this lesson, we should be able to describe the HCI, understand some of the areas where HCI can be implemented with distinctive importance, and of course, to discuss the historical evolution of HCI. Now, to introduce HCI, um, human or HCI was actually uh, used in the following areas, no? Meron tayong different disciplines or I mean, all of the disciplines pwede nating gamitin sa HCI wherever there is a possibility of computer installation. HCI can be used in this discipline such as the computer science for application, design, and engineering. So, if you will know, marami tayong mga software, algorithms, implementation that we can apply in computer science. So, HCI is being applied there. Second, in psychology. Saan po pwede, ma'am, yun? It's computer, no? So, syempre, in psychology, for application of theories and analytical purposes. So, for example, you wanted to create an expert system wherein it will decide or diagnose um, certain factors about psychology that can be done by computer. And si human ang mag interpret ng result na yon, or the psychologist, for example, or anyone from the psychology team who has experience as well in treating and or observing people. Then third, ang ating sociology for interaction between technology and organization. So ito lagi natin tong nakikita in our daily lives, no? For example, how do we socialize with people? How do we communicate with people? Before, if it's through letter, no, through text, through calls, ngayon we can um, communicate with people using the technology already, such as messenger, chat, email. So there's a lot. So that's an example of a human computer interaction application in sociology. For example, you wanted to let other people know what your thoughts. So ngayon, ginagawa natin yan. Nagbablog yung mga tao para ipakita kung ano yung mga interest nila sa buhay. Of course, with other agendas as well, but definitely we use computers for that. And people interact with it in such a way na um, maganda or positive yung feedback. Of course, meron din namang negative, but it depends on the people kung talaga bang sila ay makikinig o hindi doon sa mga negative impacts na meron ngayon using human or computer applications rather. And then lastly, we have the industrial design for interactive products like mobile phones, microwave oven, etc. But ma'am, bakit po may microwave oven doon? Actually, TV nga kasama, radio nga kasama. Different IoT devices ay kasama dito. Bakit ma'am? Kung na-notice nyo, tayo ay gumagamit ng different devices with the use of um, computer applications already. For example, dati kung ang TV ay nagre-rely lang tayo sa channel na nakukuha natin via antenna, ngayon is marami na tayong napapanood even though we don't have antennas but we do have internet connection. We can watch on different applications such as YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, yung sa pakikinig ng music, Pandora, ano pa nga ba yung Spotify. So, yun, nagkakaroon tayo ng different industrial design that has something to do with computers. So, for example, meron tayong mga smart devices katulad ng microwave oven. Before, kung analog, then naging digital yung pagsiset ng timer. You can control this kind of devices already using your mobile phones. Sa what do you call this, sa refrigerators, ganun din. So there are smart devices created today for our for a better use of this technology, no? So the world's leading organization in HCI is ACM. So yung ating world's leading organization in HCI is the ACM-SIGCHI, which stands for Association for Computer Machinery. No, yun yung ACM, Association for Computer Machinery, Special Interest Group on Human-Computer Interaction. So ano yung ginagawa nung organization na yon? So si Special Interest Group on Computer-Human Interaction, sila yung nagde-define ng computer science to be the core discipline of HCI. So it's found in India, or actually nag-emerge siya sa India as an interaction proposal mostly based on the field of design. Okay, so as an additional knowledge to HCI. Okay, let's move on to the objectives of HCI. No, para ano ba ang purpose nila? So meron silang three common objectives. But of course, apart from this, marami pa, no? Kasi the objective or the intention of this course is to learn the ways of designing user-friendly interfaces or interactions, considering which we will learn the following. First, ways to design and assess interactive systems. So, paano ba tayo makakapag-create or makakapag-design rather at makakapag-evaluate ng mga interactive systems. So, kumbaga, there's a certain device. How do we make it? How can we make it better by assessing this kind of interactive systems? Second, ways to reduce design time through cognitive system and task models. So, paano tayo makakapag-design ng mga interactive systems wherein mas iiksi yung period of time para tayo ay makapaggawa noon. Kasi, if there is something, if there is something that we need, we actually have to take it into action na dapat makapag-create na agad tayo ng solution. So, paano natin marireduce yung time na bibigay natin as an effort to make such interactive systems. And then, for the third objective, procedures and heuristics for interactive system design. So, the third objective is all about how you design the procedures, the process of doing such interactive design wherein it's gonna suit the needs of people. So, syempre, again, just like what I've mentioned before, you are creating a system not because you are the one who's going to use it, but because you are including the people's thought, people's point of view kung paano ba nila magagamit ng ayos yung device na yon para makatulong sa kanilang daily task. So, it's all about procedures. So, for example, mag-conduct ka muna ng interview. Kaya you have to plan out first, di ba? You conduct an interview, ask them questions regarding the proposed system that you have in mind, then gather ideas, gather the data that you need, enable for you to create a better design of this kind of interactive devices. Now, let me share you something. Now, according from the computer science department sa University of Cape Town, in the past daw until the 1980s. So actually this was the time that I was born, no, 1987 to be exact. Almost all commercial computer systems were non-interactive. So I'm not sure kung inabot niyo pa to, but I don't think so. Most of you might have born where on the area wherein devices are interactive already. So the computer operators would set up machines to read large volumes of data. Say, for example, customers' bank details and transactions, and the computer would then process each input and generate appropriate output. So, um, i-read lang niya yung data and then i-generate lang yung output, but there's not so much interaction between the human and the device before. Bakit natin nasabi na gano'n? Kasi unlike now, 'di ba, kapagka gumagamit tayo ng different kind of devices, for example, we go to YouTube, we search something about the history of computers, we are given different choices or options that we can select according to what we think we are looking for. So, ibig sabihin, hindi lang siya basta um, nagge-generate lang ng output, but we as humans have the option to actually choose kung ano yung gusto nating panoorin. So, that's an example of being interactive. But before, wala kang choice na gano'n. So, you just input the data and then the machine will just generate the output as needed. Now, in the present, there are still lots of the systems in place, pero the world is also now full of interactive computer systems. And we all know that these are systems that involve users in a direct way. In interactive systems, the user and computer exchange information frequently and dynamically. Katulad nga ng nabanggit ko kaninang example. So, ano pa yung mga, ma'am, example ng mga interactive system? Kasi hindi po ako sure kung interactive ba yon, but I'm using it. I'm using a device. I'm using a computer. So, let me give you another example of interactive device. So, you know the games, yung merong sayaw, ano nga bang tawag doon? Yung nagsaselect ka ng song and then you're gonna dance with the tune of that. I forgot the name um, of that game. So, yung parang sasayaw ka, you choose the song, so you dance if you wanted to play, and then sasayaw ka, and then you get points when dancing, di ba? So, that's an example of an interactive device. So, another example of interactive device, for example, yung mga ATM machines natin. So, hindi na lang siya basta nag parang non-reactive. Why? For example, you wanted to withdraw on the machines. Um, Before you can actually withdraw on your ATM card, you have to input PIN, and the device or the machine will check if the PIN is correct, and then It will ask you a certain transactions that they wanted to. For example, gusto ba nilang mag-check ng balance, ba nilang mag-withdraw, gusto ba nilang mag-change PIN, gusto ba nilang magbayad ng mga bills using their ATM cards. So those examples of transactions, if you notice, may interaction between you and the device. Kaya natin siya nasabi na interactive system. So, yun yung ilan sa mga examples na meron tayo, okay? Um, Meron nga pala tayong ginagamit na parang model to actually evaluate rather, if that kind of interactive design is useful. So, ang tawag doon is Norman's evaluation or execution model that will determine kung useful way ba yung understanding ng nature ng ating interaction with the human devices. As we or interactive devices rather. As we go along on this module, i-discuss naman natin, ma'am, ano po ba yung Norman's evaluation? Sino bang may gawa nun at para saan talaga siya ginagamit? So for the time being, we'll go ahead and proceed with the historical evolution of HCI. So in HCI, no, ito yung ilan sa summary ng ating historical evolution. But let me actually play an external video to you guys. It's actually a documentary, short clips from YouTube that I found regarding the evolution of paano ba nag-work out dati yung mga tao in doing their tasks. Of course, yes, sila manual labor, and then how it became an interactive device is right outside the moment. That is very, very, very helpful because so let's proceed with the okay, so we have to play it using nature because